Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Pod with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I want to wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Hope you got all your shopping done. Today's program, we'll have JC coming to us live from some location in the United States. And then we'll have Franz Beaird, not Franz. Franz was on yesterday and lost connection, but we'll have Brent Beaird, no relation, our college football analyst. He will give us a breakdown of what's going on around the world. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline. And he is extremely excited because his new favorite football team won last night and they're in the playoff hunt. Good morning, JC. I know you're excited about your new team, the Jaguars.
It is fun to watch Jacksonville be successful. It's fun to watch a quarterback develop. And frankly, I think Doug Peterson has saved his life, and Trevor Lawrence has kind of resuscitated Doug Peterson's career. It was fun to watch the Jaguars in bad conditions, sloppy weather, go out and be aggressive, kick some field goals, score a touchdown. It was a tough game, tough elements out there in East Rutherford, and on a short week. But Jacksonville, coming off a win against Dallas, now is in position to play themselves into the AFC South Championship by beating the Houston Texans, who've won one game this year, on the road next week in a controlled environment. It'll be in a roof at Reliant Stadium, and then come home to face a Tennessee team that is reeling and who has lost its quarterback for the year in Ryan Tannehill. So it's all there for them in front. And if you can beat a 1-12 team and then win a home game against a team that is struggling mightily and who has a backup quarterback in Malik Willis, then you're going to win the division and host the playoff game, which is just, if you had said that a month and a half ago, you'd have been laughed out of the room, QB, hosting a playoff game. But it's there if they can win the next two. Yeah,
they're playing very, very well. Doug Peterson's done a tremendous job. I've always thought he was a good coach. I still hadn't figured out, and I don't follow the Eagles close enough, why they fired him. Do you know why they fired him?
Well, they were struggling when Nick Foles left. And I think the problem was they went back to Carson Wentz, and the wins just weren't coming.
Carson Wentz gets a lot of coaches fired.
He has. He certainly has. And Washington won't even play him right now. But Carson Wentz comes back from injury. The Eagles start to, really Nick Foles under Doug Peterson's offense was a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And Nick Foles has a statue, along with Doug Peterson, right there in front of Lincoln Financial Field for all the Eagle fans to see. But they lost both those guys. However, they've come back now to take over the NFC. And right now they look like the one seed going into the playoffs with 3 games to play. They're at Dallas. Then they play 2 more, but I don't think anybody's going to catch them on the record side of things. So the Eagles are going to get that 1 seed in the division in the bye round in the wild card playoff. So, yeah, I mean, if you're in the NFL, last night I'm in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we were in a casino watching the game, and people were betting on it, and the Jaguar fans, wherever they come from, they were in Biloxi last night. So it was kind of cool. We had a college game, Air Force and Baylor, and Air Force won that impressively. So, we're getting ready for the bowl season to kick in after Christmas, and the NFL playoffs coming up here in the next month.
Yeah, Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Shane, for a measly $6, you can buy a ticket to see your beloved Bills take on the Bears at Soldier Field, 20 below wind chills.
I mean, that's insane. I mean, who goes to something like that? I'm surprised they're playing in that kind of game, in that kind of weather.
Well, I mean, all the weather's going to be horrible across the league or the country for the NFL, which JC and I will do our pizza and dental picks because everybody plays tomorrow. on Saturday, except for 3 games that you'll have on Christmas Day. But yeah, the weather, it's extremely cold across the country, and I don't know how people go sit through it, quite honestly. But anyway, you mentioned college football tonight and today. You got 2 bowl games. You got the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Houston, and Louisiana. The Cougars and the Raging Cajuns play at 3 Eastern Standard Time, and then tonight the Gasparilla Bowl, game the Gators played in last year in Tampa. You got the Missouri Tigers and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now, it'll be interesting to see after this game if Sam Hartman goes into the portal or if he decides to go pro.
Yeah. Well, didn't you say he was more so interested in just staying at Wake Forest and finishing out that last year of eligibility under Dave Clawson? I thought we talked about that.
Oh, I have not heard that. I thought a couple of weeks ago it was either he was going pro or he was transferring.
Oh, he was going to go one or the other. I see. Okay, I misheard you there. Well, look, I mean, he's not going to win anything at Wake Forest other than just rack up statistics. If he's got any interest in winning anything in college, he probably would want to look elsewhere. Or if he's got an interest in really cashing in and being a first-round draft pick, he could do that too. I think somebody will want him. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity, I think, right now in the NFL for a quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. I'm interested to see. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that we're going to see a couple of players that are thinking, that are looking at being a first-round draft pick actually play in these bowl games, which is counter to what we have seen in years past where they've skipped these games. But Alabama's got a couple guys that are going to play. Penn State's got a guy or two that might play. I think
it's great.
Yeah, I do too. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it too. Yeah.
Greg says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, the Tampa Bay Lightning game against Buffalo was postponed. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess that game was up in Buffalo, probably for travel issues.
Well, travel issues and just overall just safety. I mean, you've got blizzards.
Well, then why are they continue playing football then? They're playing indoors.
The Buffalo game. Yeah, that's in Chicago, and the Buffalo game that Greg's talking about is in Buffalo, off the lake there. I don't know. I mean, it's a good point. I don't know if I'm sure the weather's very comparable in both cities. Maybe it is probably related, QB, to traveling and airplane. My son is flying tonight. He's going to be going through Atlanta. I'm not so sure. I mean, I told him I could get in a car and drive to Biloxi from Houston and meet me here, baby. But
that would make more sense.
But he's going to chance it and fly to Atlanta, where he's probably going to get stuck because the plane he'll have to catch is probably not going to be there from somewhere up north. They don't fly in these gales, they don't fly in blizzards. But at any rate, QB, it's going to be a rough weather weekend, but it's going to warm up after that. After Christmas, it's going to warm up, and a week from now, we'll be talking about 65 degrees in the south. So.
Yep, got a bunch of texts here on the Titan Mar text line to get to. Right. This is from Josh in Mississippi. He says, "Hey guys, Graham Mertz was the number 3 pro style quarterback in 2019, coming out with a .9689 and ranked 65th nationally. Pretty good prospect, I'd say. Sometimes kids need a new environment." Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I do know that Alabama wanted him very, very bad, but he chose Wisconsin over Alabama. I do know that for a fact. So, we'll see. You got to wait and see. He was not great at Wisconsin, but I still haven't figured out why anybody in their right mind would want to play quarterback at Wisconsin. Now, this is in the past. It may be different under Luke Fickell, but in the past at Wisconsin and Iowa, have no idea.
Yeah.
Daryl says, "Merry Christmas to us. The Jags are on a roll." Yes, they are. Merry Christmas to you as well. Chris says on Facebook Live, JC is now a meteorologist. JC, you can do it all, can't you?
Yes, I was a utility player in my baseball career, and I even pitched. QB, I think I can tell you that weather is. I am interested in it. I do. He's right. I'm a utility guy. I mean, I can tell you about the weather. I'm pretty good at that. I worked in the newsroom. I mean, one of my best friends was a weather guy, and he and I would banter. I think, listen, but he made more money than I did. It really pissed me off that the weather guy would make more money than the sports guy in a college town that's crazy about Gator football. Does that make any sense to you, QB?
Say it one more time.
Does it make any sense to you that the weather guy would get paid more than the sports guy in a crazed football town like Gainesville?
I mean, I don't know what the salaries are of meteorologists and sports anchors with mustaches and stuff like that.
Just say it's ridiculous. You know,
I'm
talking about Steve Spurrier. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the Gators and Steve Spurrier and Florida football. He's talking about reading some computer printout and telling you that it's going to be 60 degrees in Gainesville under hazy, sunny skies. I mean, my God, why does he get paid more money than I do? That's just what they did at TV20. Good old TV20. That's what they did. They paid the weather guy more than the sports guy. It was outrage.
Yeah, just raise hell about it. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Darling, we be a realtor with Caldwell Banker, M. Parrish. We're value with fast, friendly, reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. We got JC for a few more minutes. We're going to get to our Peachland Dental picks here shortly. Then we're going to have Brent Beaird. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. He'll join us today. Got a couple of YouTube comments I want to get to, JC, and then we'll get into our picks.
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, his handle is Shane1178. He's very negative. He obviously hates Billy Napier. He said, "Yep,
yeah,
top 10, same as Mullen just did. Billy just did it with this class with an army and with like a crying face or whatever." Then Steve says, "I think we have a really good class. By player average, it's a top 5 class. I totally agree with you about Foley. While he did wonderful things, he really put us in a bad spot by not upgrading the facilities." What he's talking about there, yesterday we had maybe it was yesterday or the previous day. Well, no, it wouldn't have been when you were on. It was yesterday. We had somebody text.
Yeah.
And the text was basically, there's a lot of people in Gator Nation that are up in arms over Scott Strickland for all the hirings that he's had, things, and kind of where the two main programs, football and men's basketball, have kind of gone down. But
right.
This gentleman was saying, shouldn't the reason that Florida's football program basically has gone south was due to the hirings of Zook, McElwain, and Muschamp, which were all Foley hires, and not building the facilities to stay up with everybody else. That's what the gentleman was saying, that don't put all this blame on Scott Strickland. Now, I said Jeremy did a phenomenal job at a lot of things. And yes, I do think us not having the facility, and obviously you're not going to hire the right person every time. But that was 3 that we've fired since then. But the facility thing was what really set us behind. And we're there now, but it's not like you snap your fingers and it happens overnight. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, QB, I mean, I'll never forget after the national title in 2008, the thought was, hey, why do we need to get involved in an arms race? We are Florida.
But JC,
it will just happen here.
Nobody had any stuff in 2008. That's my point. They didn't start.
Well, I mean,
Saban, I think he got it built in like their first facility in like 2008 or 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Them and Oregon were like the first ones to have anything. Yeah, but I could be wrong.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's 15 years ago, but there was a quote he made that he basically Jeremy Foley saying he was not going to get involved in an arms race. And if you ask him that question, he may deny it, but I remember reading it in the Gainesville Sun, and he did. I think Florida did fall behind by not investing in the program. I think it's pretty obvious, and I think they suffered for it. And how many times do we hear Will Muschamp beg them to help out with the facility where they were basically walking to the O'Connell Center to practice in that place during, when it was raining and so forth, which it always does in August, right? And I get it. I mean, that was absurd that these guys would be walking across the street or parking lot in Gainesville to go into the O-Dome to practice during bad weather, and while everybody else, including schools like South Carolina, had stuff erected for their indoor practice needs. And it did make sense to me, and it did set the program back. I don't think anybody can deny that, if you're honest. And Foley was great in many things, like hiring spring sport coaches and so forth. but football suffered. There's no question about that. There's zero question about that. We all know it's a fact. And, that's just the way it happened back then.
Yep, no doubt. On Facebook Live, John says, regarding the YouTube comment about Napier's class, he says, Napier's class is so much better than Mullins. 85% blue chip ratio hasn't been done since Urban Meyer was here. So there.
Oh,
whatever that means.
Yeah. So take that, doubters. Well, look, I think it's pretty clear, folks. We got to give this coach a couple of years to get his guys here. I mean, if anybody thought it was going to be a flip your switch overnight turnaround, they were not being realistic. And so let him get his guys. And you can't get them all, but you're going to get some, and that's better than none. Now, what happened with this kid Rashada? Has he sent his signed signature in, or what's the story there, QB?
Yeah, he signed on signing day.
Okay, I didn't know he had signed it. Something, for whatever reason, I read that he was his papers hadn't come in.
You got to remember, his came in later because he's on the West Coast. Time difference.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
So,
that's good.
So anyway,
okay, good.
Let's before we get to our Peachland Dental picks and get to Brent Beaird, let's do our This Day in Sports. This is a good one, brought to you by Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat some heat to your air conditioners tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. You need to check out your heater right now, folks. Comfort Temp Heating and Air.
Oh, yeah.
Give them a call at 352-376-2366. 1972, JC.
Wow.
The Immaculate Reception was on this day.
Sure.
Where Franco Harris against the Raiders catches that ball off the ricochet right off the carpet, takes it to the house, and we talked about it. Franco passed away. They're going to retire his number, all that stuff. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Was Franco? Do you know if Franco Harris was sick? What happened?
No, I don't, and I was surprised to hear his news. I mean, 72 years old to me is not a very old age, but I do not know his health, why he died. I don't know that at all. But let me ask you a question. Speaking of that play, do you remember the name of the Oakland Raider that clocked that receiver that caused the ball to ricochet like that? Do you know who that was?
I don't. I was 2 years old, JC.
His name, well, I know that, QB, but I mean, you're a historian of sports. His name was Jack Tatum, and they called him the Black Assassin. And the Black Assassin cleaned that guy's clock, which would have been a targeting call today. And Franco was just in the right spot, and it changed the Steelers' life, and it created the Chuck Noll dynasty, really, and made that city into a championship city on that play after that. And John Madden was the coach of the Raiders. Jack Tatum hit the guy, and the Steelers won the game on that last play. We think about it, it had to be amazing to see at the time it happened. Franco, but 72 years old. No, I do not know what the health situation was with him. I don't.
Yeah. Andy says Jack Tatum paralyzed a Patriot receiver. I remember that.
Yeah, it was Darryl Stingley. That was Darryl Stingley. Jack Tatum was a very violent player. He was a good player, but boy, he wouldn't have been able to play in today's game hitting people like that. I just know that the Raiders and Steelers had some great games, and that was one of them. Yeah.
Gene says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Foley was overrated as an AD. Facilities should have been updated much sooner. Set the big three sports back years. All right, so JC.
He's a big fan. Yeah.
He's a big what?
He was a big fan of the AD, I guess, old Gene.
Yeah. It's time for the Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. I have no idea what our stats are. I know you've kicked my butt all year long. You've done pretty well. I lost with the Vegas trip and everything else. I've lost all the bookkeeping. But today we're going to pick we'll pick all these NFL games real quick. Why not? What else is there to do on a cold Friday before Christmas Eve? The Saints are traveling to the Cleveland Browns, which the weather in Cleveland is usually very similar to the weather in Buffalo. So I can't think it's going to be very nice. The total, do you know what the total is for this game? The over
about 32.5. 32.
I don't know if I've ever seen a NFL game that low. But
Yeah.
the Cleveland Browns
Yeah,
are
it's like
favored by 3 over the Saints. Who you got?
Oh, I want to take Cleveland, and it's due to the wind. I mean, you just can't operate QB. I don't think the Saints are they're going to need turnovers deep in Cleveland territory to score, I think. Yeah, the under last night was an easy play and for the Jags because of the rain. We're going to have wind issues here coming up on these games, and that's why these totals are so low. But give me the Browns because I just don't think the Saints will score at all. Browns probably won't either.
Yeah, I like the Browns too. Okay, so the Baltimore Ravens are a 6.5-point favorite over the Atlanta Falcons in Baltimore. I don't know who's playing quarterback for Baltimore. Do you?
I don't know if Huntley is playing. I don't think Lamar is healthy. I think Baltimore's in trouble in that division, and Cincinnati's going to win that division. I don't know if Baltimore's going to make it. I'm going to take – I mean, Atlanta's a mess. They're a miserable organization and team. I don't know what Arthur Blank is doing. Give me the 6.5. What a tough game. I guess I'll just take Atlanta plus the points. I don't know why.
Okay, you take Atlanta. I'll take Baltimore, and I don't even know who's – I don't think either of those guys you just mentioned are playing quarterback, quite honestly. I think it's somebody, their third guy. The Bengals, who are on a roll under Joe Burrow, they're laying 3 points at New England.
So the Bengals have won 6 straight. They're on a roll, like you said. New England somehow lost inexplicably to Oakland or to the Vegas Raiders last week on a ridiculous play at the end where the players forgot the situation they were in. And I think New England's checking out. It's going to be tough weather again at the Foxborough. I'll take Cincinnati. I just think they're just a little bit better, and these conditions will help New England. But I like the Bengals. Give me the Bengals minus 3.
Well, we're all on the same page. I just Joe Burrow is so good, and they
really
got so many. They have so many weapons, and they play just solid defense. They don't wow you on defense, and I think the Bengals win that game as well. All right, 2 of my squads are battling at Soldier Field, and thank God I ain't going to be there. Buffalo is an 8-point favorite at Chicago, and it's going to be miserable.
Right, and normally this is an easy one for Buffalo. I think they would pretty much handle the Bears, but with those conditions, I don't know how effective Allen's going to be throwing. I think the Bears will stack them at the line of scrimmage. I mean, give me the Bears plus the 8 QB. Otherwise, I'd easily take Buffalo in this one.
Yeah, I don't think the wind's going to affect Josh Allen's ball for some reason, but I'm going to take the Bills because I've been on the Bills for a long time. Although I think the Bears, I think Justin Fields can hurt them running the ball. So we'll see. The Minnesota Vikings are -4 against the New York Giants. I'm not sure the playoff implications on this game. Obviously, Minnesota's pretty much set, but I think the Giants have to make this. I mean, have to win.
Yeah,
this
Giants. Giants had a big win last week at Washington. I see them covering this 4 just because Minnesota's pretty much locked into the 2 spot. I don't think they can improve their position, even if the Eagles. Well, then I guess if the Eagles lost 3 in a row, but I'm going to take the Giants plus the points. I don't think Minnesota defensively is that good. I really don't. So, and the Colts should have beat them last week. Let's just be honest. But I'm going to take the Giants. Give me the 4.5 or whatever it is in Minnesota. Don't really care about the weather will not be an issue there. So,
all right, I'll take Minnesota at home. All right, we'll speed this up here to get to Brent Beaird. Detroit's -2.5 at Carolina. I think Detroit's still in the playoff hunt.
Lions,
I like
please.
the Lions. Yes, I'm with you on Detroit. And then Seattle at the Chiefs. Chiefs -10.
Brutally cold game here. Give me Kansas City at home to cover the 10. It's a lot of points, but Seattle is starting to fade. I'll take the Chiefs.
I agree. Okay, here's one that the Jag fans will be keeping their eyes on. Titans are at home hosting the Houston Texans, who have been playing much better of late. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans in the upset, getting 3.5.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Tennessee's a disaster. They lost a quarterback. I don't believe in Malik Willis. I don't think he can throw the ball effectively in this league, and I think Houston will get that second win of the season. And it will be a tough game for Jacksonville next week in Houston. And believe it or not, it's going to be no cakewalk. But Tennessee losing puts Jacksonville in first place in the AFC because they'll both have, I think, the same record, and the Jags have beaten them already.
Yeah. 49ers are at home -6.5 against the Washington Commanders. I'm on the 49ers
This is my Super Bowl.
bandwagon.
Yeah.
And I
me
like
too.
them big.
They're getting great odds out here to win the Super Bowl. And if this kid continues to keep the ball out of other teams' hands and doesn't turn it over, 49ers could win it in the NFC. They could. They can win in Philly, I think, with that defense. So give me lay the 6.5.
Big game tomorrow, although Jalen Hurts is out. Cowboys -4 at home against the Eagles.
I'll take Dallas.
All right, I think I will too. I was going to take Dallas even if Hurts had played. All right, and then the Sunday night or the Saturday night game, you got the Steelers -2.5 against the Raiders. This is where they're retiring Franco's jersey.
Right. Yeah. Same teams.
I'm taking Pittsburgh at home.
I will too. Kenny Pickett has not played in 2 weeks. I don't think the Raiders have anything to play for. I guess the Steelers really don't either. But yeah, you can't lose on the Franco Harris retirement party. So go Steelers.
Okay, and then the Christmas Day games, we don't have to pick those. We'll just pick a winner. I think. Who do you think wins between Miami and Green Bay at Miami?
I got Miami winning at home. I got the Rams beating Denver, and I'll take Tampa Bay to win against Arizona.
Okay. All right, JC. Merry Christmas. Have a great trip in Mississippi, and we will talk to you on Monday.
Monday sounds good. See you guys then. Merry Christmas, everybody.
That's JC joining us on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Brent Beaird. We'll go through some of these recruiting rankings in college football, some other news and notes you're watching and listening to Pato Matthews and more.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, International Diamond Center, Dave & Buster's, Palmetto Moon, Escape Apology, Visor's Rooftop, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the #1 celebrity polished casual restaurant in America. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. Now we're going to head back to the Titan MR Hotline and our college football analyst, Brent Beaird, coming off the disabled list. Good morning, Brent. How are you, my man? Hope you're feeling better.
Well, I am, and I appreciate that. I apologize for not being on yesterday, but much better voice today. So Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and, to all who are listening. But still, we're getting near Christmas, Shane, but still a lot going on in the SEC.
No question about it. Let's jump right into with National Signing Day. The early signing day was on Wednesday. Of course, the usual suspects are up there, but I try to tell everybody in the top 10, you got two teams that had not great years. One had a really bad year. The other one had a losing record as well, with Miami and Florida. So you got to give those staffs and people involved with recruiting a lot of credit to have a top 10 class with a losing record.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think the thing to me that kind of sticks out is Texas at number 3, and the job that they did. I mean, they really needed and had to have a good recruiting class, and frankly, so did Miami. But look, the reality of this is it's two-edged sword. You bring the class in, but now can they develop these guys and keep these guys? And that's what's going to be very important over the next few months. But yes, as you mentioned, certainly no surprise, Shane, Bama and Georgia 1-2, right?
No surprise at all. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. That's where it's going to be probably for the next 15, 20 years, it seems like. It just is what it is. Did anything out of the early signing period surprise you, Brent?
Well, maybe that there were more flips and flops, as they said, or at least attempted to be. Look, I think what we've got now would be the Shane, has the transfer portal in some ways overshadowed the high school senior signing. It kind of seemed to me that it did, in the fact that's making fans happier now than bringing in the high school guys who are going to be 3 years. You get a transfer, and they may be there one, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, I think it's because fans have probably heard or seen that person out of the transfer portal play and perform. And again, as you stated, normally when you bring in a kid out of high school, you're hoping he's going to stay 3 years. But hell, the way it works today, he could be there one and done and moving on to another school as well. It's just a crazy time. And you hear all my friends that are college coaches that I speak with, not only is it so difficult to recruit high school kids and to root people out and recruit people from the portal, now the most difficult thing is keeping the players you want that are on your roster now, keeping them on your team. That's
why
December.
Part. Yes, that's why December is so critical at this point. But Shane, something's got to happen in December. There's way too much going on. What I'm curious about, are you hearing these coaches say anything about either some legislation or some changes, maybe moving the early signing period to another time? And again, we've got in 2 years the expanded playoffs. I know they're complaining about it. They don't like it. But what I'm curious is, are they the point yet where they really want to do something about it?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches publicly can't say they hate NIL and all this. I think they enjoy the transfer portal because it's a way that they can help their team and they can get rid of some players that may not have panned out that they wanted. But the NIL stuff is just, it is out of control. It is a complete nightmare, and they can't stand it. They cannot stand it. Asa has a question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Why are we not working more in the portal, O-line, wide receivers? We are. I mean, I don't think we're just going to take somebody just to take them. And I think more people will enter the portal after some of these more bowl games are being played. And I think more kids, after they play in their bowl games, will probably enter the portal. But you got to remember, we're not the only team looking in that portal. There's a lot of stuff that's involved when a kid is being basically just re-recruiting him, and people have seen these players on tape. And so obviously there's more money involved being thrown around. Brent, there's some new coaches in the SEC, defense coordinators, I should say. Arkansas has their new defensive coordinator.
Well, the thing we're hearing is Chris Hampton from Tulane has emerged as a strong candidate for that situation. But listen, France has done a really good job there. They're keeping their quarterback, Pratt. That's a good club. I don't know if you've watched them much this year, Shane, but they've done a really good job. I mean, their defense was number 15 in the nation. and the second best in the ACC, number one and third down defense. So no doubt that they're looking at him. And let me add something to what you said about the portal. The portal goes until January the 15th. And then there's a break. Then we've got another window after spring practice. So fans have got to be patient because there's a lot that can go on after the bowl games and after spring practice too.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's just, I don't think people realize how much is going on. And somebody emailed me an article. I can forward it to you. It was somebody, and I don't know who it was, but they sent it to me talking about all the ins and outs of recruiting going on right now, how difficult it is. Now, obviously, it's not difficult in Alabama for some reason. Would you say this is Saban's best class he's ever had?
Maybe. It's an unbelievable class. It's one of the best classes ever. And see, this is the thing that I mentioned about him. If you ever, the one telltale sign that he may be retiring is if they have a 15th rated class instead of the first rated class.
JoJo Earl was a highly recruited wide receiver that went to Alabama.
Yes.
He is in the transfer portal. Does that surprise you at all?
Well, a little bit, yes. He's going to TCU is where he's landed. I mean, he's from Texas. He got hurt, or he would have been much more of a target. So it is a bit of a surprise. Now, the other guy who really didn't play, Aaron Anderson, wide receiver, is committed to LSU. He's from that area. So it's not a total surprise that he went back.
Yeah, the Auburn Tigers, Miami's not the only team flipping people, ladies and gentlemen. Auburn flipped a big recruit from FSU to the Auburn Tigers, but it seems like Hugh Freeze, for the short period of time, they did pretty well this year in recruiting.
I think a lot of people thought that they had a good class. Now, they thought they were going to get Devin Leary, who went to Kentucky, and Grayson McCall, and that did not happen. So they're still looking. But look, Hugh enough, Shane, he's going to get a quarterback, and that's your reality for that. So, but yes, and even though they missed out on some guys, obviously they wanted. I mean, Auburn ended up 16 in the recruiting rankings at Rivals. But my goodness, when Harsin left and Freeze took over, they were like in the 70s or somewhere in that. It was an unbelievable number. So credit to Freeze for getting the 16th rated class.
Yes, for sure. Gators had a really good class that we talked about a little bit. Had a bunch of people have gone in the transfer portal. One that people may or may not know, Michael Tarquin, offensive lineman,
Yes.
put his name in the hat. I should know this, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but I don't follow the offensive line play very much. But I think he was kind of bouncing in and out of the rotation.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, kids want to go play. Maybe he didn't think it was a good fit. Maybe he didn't like the offensive line coach. But I'm sure he will sign somewhere. The one transfer that the Gators had, Jalen Lee, defensive lineman, he committed to LSU, which surprised me a little bit. I mean,
Yes.
Nothing against him. I just didn't see him he'd have a flash here or there, but I was surprised that he signed with LSU. What other within the conference, what's going on with Georgia? They're kind of flying under the radar right now because obviously they're getting prepared for their playoff game. But what's going on? I mean, we know they were number 2, but any news coming out of Athens?
Yeah, Georgia did really well. They got Dominique Lovett, the Missouri wide receiver, big time play, and I mean a big time player, because he was at Missouri, and they were a 500 club. No one paid all attention to that. Shane, they also got Mississippi State receiver Ra Thomas.
I saw that,
which is big. Eric Gilbert, believe it or not, is in the transfer again, he's in the portal. And people may miss this. JT Daniels has transferred to Rice.
Mm-hmm. Shocking. His whole team.
Southern Cal, Georgia, West Virginia, Rice.
So I wonder if he ever has an opportunity to be on a Sunday night or a Monday night game in the National Football League when they throw his picture up.
Yeah.
If he's the quarterback, JT Daniels, what school does he say he's from? I guess he has to put his high school because, boy, that is that's just interesting to me. John's got a good comment here. I don't know if you saw this, Brent. I saw it on Twitter. I didn't really know what was going on because I didn't follow it, but he mentions here, this is brought to you by Metal Law. What about the 5-star safety Peyton Bowen, who flipped from Notre Dame to Oregon on early signing day and then flipped again to Oklahoma before signing? Did you see that guy?
Kid? Yeah. The thing that made people question what was going on is he said he flipped, but he never signed the papers until the final one. So, goodness, who knows what went on there? Maybe more NIL money. We don't know, and I'm not accusing him of anything. But I did see that. That was one of the more unusual ones of the entire day.
Yeah, we got a couple of texts here on the Titan MR text line. Alan in Atlanta says it's 13 degrees up here. I guess we got some solid recruits based on the pundits, but I don't understand why we struggle to sign a full class of 25 every year. I know we have another date in February, but we're behind the sticks year after year in body count. Georgia signed 27, Alabama 28. This has been consistent trend over the past 5 years. You got any comments on that? I don't even know how many we signed in this early signing period.
Yeah, I think sometimes you don't sign a full class because you think you've got the possibility of other guys coming in later. So I don't think that's real unusual. Frankly, I know Brian Kelly raised some eyebrows when he said they may end up signing 37. He actually said that a couple days ago. But I mean, that's rare. But sometimes you get a situation where you can go above and beyond the norm. I don't know if I'd worry about that much because I think you just trust the staff on that they'll bring some guys in later.
Yeah, and again, you don't know who's going to show up in the portal, and there's tampering going on all the time from coaches.
Yes.
And they may have kids that are going to come available. Gene says on Facebook Live, the Bowen's girlfriend plays soccer at Oklahoma, so that may have played a factor. Gene follows that kind of stuff, I guess. Tommy in Savannah on the Titan MR text line says, "Merry Christmas, guys. After last year's crap show, does Doug Peterson deserve some recognition for Coach of the Year?" Absolutely, he does. He's done a phenomenal job turning the Jags around, and I think they're going to make the playoffs, quite honestly.
Well, they might. Now they've got, I think, winner take all with Tennessee coming up in the next couple of weeks. They've made significant improvement. There's no doubt about that. Lawrence has come into his own at this point. So, but you don't look in that league. You don't count anything for granted, right, Shane? Until it actually happens.
Yeah. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Brent Beaird for a few more minutes here on the Titan MR Hotline. John says on Facebook Live, some of our guys we are signing aren't committing until January, February. Napier's evaluations are very good. I do think they do a tremendous job in that regard. So, Brent, give us some Florida State. I want to say they're ranked in like the 20s or so, if I'm not mistaken, in recruiting, but they've done all their damage, I believe, out of the portal. Is that right? They've done a lot of it out of there. I'll check on where they are. They're 27, and it's not a bad class at all, frankly. Hakeem Williams from Fort Lauderdale is a 5-star wide receiver. I mean, their own guys that they haven't been on before.
And again, I say this every year, and it bears repeating. The thing with recruiting is, did you meet your needs? And that's what you're looking for, instead of where all the stars are. Now, Jamie Robinson, the safety, and Jared Verse, both NFL prospects, are going to play in the bowl game. That's I think important. Malik Feaster, defensive back, re-entered the transfer portal. They did get a transfer from UTEP, and Jeremiah Byers, who they really like, also. But again, the big thing for them is the guys who stayed, like Jordan Travis at quarterback. Look, don't be shocked next year. I know this is hard to believe, but it really isn't. If they're not predicted to win the ACC instead of Clemson.
Interesting. That will be interesting. I got a couple questions here on the Titan More text line regarding Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Some folks in Mississippi are upset because their recruiting was not great so far this year, and them losing 4 of their last 5 games. I know that Lane has pretty much built that program on the transfer portal. How do you see how the Ole Miss Rebels did?
They got a couple of guys from in-state. There's some, as you know, there's some good kids from the state of Mississippi. They don't get enough credit. Linebacker Centurion Perkins, he's from Raleigh, and Aiden Williams from Ridgeland, or a couple of guys, linebacker and receiver, who are very good and well thought of. I think all the way around, what you said is correct. What Lane's doing now is going more from the portal than he is anything else. And again, the point needs to be brought up. This is only the early signing period. We've got today we got a window of 3 days, and then obviously we have the next one coming up February. We won't have the action in February that we usually do, but we got to remember we've got the portal window, and then we've got the other signing day in February too. I'm looking for Ole Miss's class here. Also, I know Mississippi State, to their credit, was 22. When you lose your coach to finish 22nd, says a whole lot about where they are and what they're doing at this point. Also, but no, it wasn't a. It was a small class. Frankly, they're 51. That's why it took me a while to find it.
Yeah.
They only signed 12 guys, which is a very small class. And if you get a class that small, by stars, you almost need every one of them to go and to make it. So, no, don't give up on Lane. He's too good of a coach, frankly, and they'll do better in the transfer portal.
Yes, they will. Brent, before we get you out here, I know you're under the weather. We appreciate your time. Give us a few nuggets, and we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, I think also what we need to keep in mind, too, people may not realize this, Missouri plays Wake today, this afternoon. That's going to be a very interesting game. I frankly think they've done a good job. Ennis Rakestraw, their cornerback, is going to come back. So that's worthy of note. If people miss this, Shane, I think this is important. Did you see where Jaden Daniels is coming back for LSU?
Yes, I did. Speaking of Wake today, there was a lot of rumors out there about Sam Hartman
right,
looking to transfer, but he also said he may just go to the draft. Do you think he puts his name into the portal after the game today?
He might. That's really one to look at, because if he does, he's going to have a lot of people want to sign him. I'm curious how much you've seen him.
I like him a lot. I want him.
Yeah. I think he's a very good quarterback. and I want to mention Kentucky before we go too, real quick. But yeah, Hartman is an excellent quarterback too. And listen, now think about this: Devin Leary is now going to Kentucky, Nancy State QB, and I think he's very good too. They're going to have a really good lineup, particularly offensively. They've got Iowa in the bowl game, and Cohen is back as their offensive coordinator, who was there a few years ago. Now, I'm not going out on a limb and saying they're going to win the East or anything like that, but when we look at this and what they've done in the portal, Shane, at least on paper, this can be a good team coming in next year in Kentucky.
Yeah, for sure. Brent, we appreciate your time, my man. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you and your family. And we will talk to you next week.
Great. Can't wait, bud. Take care. Thanks.
That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. We're going to take a quick time out, come back, wrap up this Friday edition. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. I want to thank JC and Brent Beaird for joining us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. Don't forget today, bowl games continue at 3 o'clock Eastern time. The Raging Cajuns of Louisiana play the Houston Cougars in the Independence Bowl. And then this evening in Tampa at the Gasparilla Bowl, Wake Forest and Sam Hartman take on the Missouri Tigers. So that's your schedule for bowl games today. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching our program. Merry Christmas to all you folks. Hope you have a great holiday with your friends and family. And we'll be back here on Monday to recap all the NFL action, bowl games, and what have you. Have a great Christmas, folks. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.